Hello, how are you doing today? And today I'm going to react to 15 things I quit doing to stop getting rich. I'm going over this financial YouTuber that I liked and I resonate a lot, especially since he's a black man and I have a lot of respect for him and I enjoy reacting to his content. And there's some problems, some things that we need to learn from him because it sounds like he's living the life that he wants to live. And I know I've been following for him for about a year and a half now, and he started to get his wealth after 35. So, I mean, knowing I'm 32 and it kind of resonate with me. So I just want to pick some things up on what can we do, including myself, to do that we can get better so we can live the life we want to live, trying to get wealthy, start a family, retire early, live the life you want to live, or even quit your job that you don't like. Because I've come to understand and realize it's not so much on not really working. People want to work meaningful jobs that they enjoy. And the lies that's been told that, oh, you need to work a 9 to 5 to supplement that income to enjoy the things you do, which that still works, but that advice doesn't work for everybody. So there's a fine line for that. And let's just get into the video.
The first thing I had to quit doing in order to get rich was I had to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Now, why would I have to stop living paycheck to paycheck? Really, guys, it's based on my mental health. Paycheck to paycheck is just too stressful, caused me too much anxiety. Now, how did I do that? I had to take money management more seriously. In other words, I had to do a budget on a regular basis. I had to make sure I had enough savings for emergencies.
Yes, that's the key of not living paycheck to paycheck. It's really stacking up more and more and more on top of that. And that's why it's always important. And this is why you always hear that a lot of people go bankrupt or the business goes down. So, or people financially fall apart, or because their car broke down and it cost $2,000 to fix it and they don't have $2,000. And that's where it comes from, saving that money, not really spending it, just saving it, putting a pile where it just builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up. Now, knowing me, a lot of people, they have a problem of every time it hits their checking account, they would just spend it. But some people don't. But that's why I believe, if you automate that to, okay, a certain percentage goes to your saving account, certain percentages go to your investing account, certain percentages go to whatever, your fun time. And that's all make it easier. So you have more. But I just think people just like to live, unfortunately, YOLO and just spend and live paycheck to paycheck.
I had to start sort of taking control over my money as opposed to allowing my money to control me. And I had to stick to my plans. What were my goals, right? See, a lot of people make enough money, but a lot of people don't properly manage their money. I had to sort of become the CEO of my own four walls. I had to become the chief financial officer of my money. And I had to just manage it really, really well. And that helped me to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Now, the second thing I had to stop in order to be rich is I had to stop engaging myself in unnecessary, risky stuff with money. In other
Yes. Yes, this kind of relates to me too. I want to hear what he got to say. But if you like this video so far, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
words, taking gambles with money and calling it risk. I had to learn how to focus on preserving my wealth, right? And growing my money over time in sort of a patient way instead of risking it all the time and trying to get this get rich quick thing going on, right? Trying to chase the next get rich quick scheme that was going on. I had to stop all that, right? I had to quit doing that and just focus on being steady with my money, not always trying to risk and gamble everything. And I vowed to myself that I was going to stop throwing money at things going down in value. And I vowed to myself that I wouldn't take on any new debt. So the last new debt that I took on was about 15 or 16 years ago. I haven't taken on any new debt since then. And guess what? That's reduced my risk significantly. Now, the third thing that I had to do is I had to stop neglecting financial education. In other words, wealth can be.
Yes. Woof. Ooh. This one hit me hard. And I know it hits a lot of people hard. Sometimes you know what to do. You just got to do it. And that's just me too. I know what to do, but sometimes I do struggle with my actions, like knowing what to do. I had to tell myself, hey, Ronald, you know what? You gotta put $100, $125 a week aside to investing, which is tough for me. It really is tough. I started off just doing 40 and 40 every week, but now to increase it to 125, it was tough. But I knew in order for me to retire early, that I need to keep doing that to achieve that goal, retiring early. So that's why I'm saying the more money you put in retirement, the more you will retire early with. And it's tough. And I don't know if y'all ever went through that problem. Like, you know that you should be investing more, or no, you should be doing this. And like, you know what to do, but it's able to put the action to it to make it hard and stay consistent with it, which I'm trying my best to. That's why I'm telling you, I'm not perfect. And, you should never take my advice seriously. Hey, you should always do your research, fact check. And yeah, this is tough because I'm working like you. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to still pay off my debt. I'm trying to retire early. I'm still trying to figure it out. And I don't have my life together. And I'm okay with that. And no one does. If anyone's telling you they have their life together, you should unsubscribe to them and don't even listen to them, because that's not true. They're selling you a dream.
He's sort of lost if you don't have the right knowledge, if you don't have the right information, right? If you don't have the right financial literacy, you can lose a lot of money and leave a lot of money on the table and make a whole bunch more mistakes. So the way I fixed that, I sort of made sure that I always educated myself. The podcast, the YouTube channels, the books. I don't care if it's library, Amazon, wherever you go, Barnes and Nobles, doesn't matter. Just getting the information, becoming a sponge for all the financial education that's out there, that's at our fingertips. Really, it's right on our phones. Now, the fourth thing that I had to stop doing in order to get rich is I had to stop overspending to impress other people, or spending to maintain a certain image. Because when you try to maintain it,
and I'm glad that I don't do that, because really, in a sense, I don't do this, but I know a lot of other people do. So if you're doing that, just figure out why you're doing it, and just figure out the deep root reason cause of it. If it's for your ego, get your ego in check. And if it's not the ego, maybe get some help, maybe get some therapy to figure out why you're trying to impress other people that don't like you or don't care for you.
Image, it becomes sort of a trap for you. And it becomes almost a never-ending trap where you got to keep buying this and you got to keep spending this and you got to make sure you look like this, because it's just too much. Again, too stressful. So this is what I decided to do. This really helped me out. I decided to spend money in ways that align with my core values. Spend money in ways that lined up with my financial goals. And if it didn't meet my financial goals, no need to spend money on it. So I focused on growing my money instead of showing my money. I focused really on building wealth instead of just accumulating things. Now, the fifth thing that I had to stop doing in order to be rich is I had to stop ignoring taxes. Now, let me explain what I mean.
Oh, yes. Yes. This is for a lot of people. Oh, he hit my heart. I know he hit a lot of people's heart out there. Stop ignoring taxes. I'm curious to see what he's going to say about this, because I don't want to assume what he's going to say, but I have a feeling what's going to happen.
I'm not saying I avoided and didn't pay taxes, but what I'm saying is I had to stop putting my taxes to the side like it was sort of an afterthought come every March or April. I had to start looking at my taxes as a way of saving and preserving my capital. The more money that you make and the more money you have, the more taxes become more important. And everything involved with your taxes becomes a little more complicated, right? But if you ignore taxes, a lot of times you leave money on the table that you didn't really realize you were leaving on the table. And this really hits home with me because I got audited by the IRS. They came and looked at my eBay business, and they did a whole bunch of audits, and I had to go back and forth with the IRS, and I had threw away a bunch of stuff. I made a bunch of mistakes. And so I learned you got to have a good CPA, a good accountant on your team, especially as you start building wealth and you start making more money. So I interviewed several CPAs, accountants. I went out and got me a good solid one that I feel comfortable with. But no longer do I just take my taxes down there, give it to anybody to do. I take it to a professional that can help me plan throughout the year how to manage and schedule and work on my taxes throughout the year, so that at the end, I don't have to pay a whole bunch, I don't owe a whole bunch, and it's done right. Now, the sixth thing.
Yes, I agree. That is well said. I'm going to end this video right here. I know we got the 5 things, but I put the link down below just to make sure that if you want to watch the whole thing, go right ahead. He ended off on taxes. Yes, this is why you gotta, first of all, you can always do the research and find and say, hey, this is what the deduction I'm required to have as a business owner. Because, different deductions for different businesses. And, hey, that's why you got to do the research. That's why you got to talk to CPAs or a tax person. Hey, you got to do the research at the end of the day, especially if you're on the self-employment side or the business side. Yeah, you're definitely going to need a CPA or a tax person. And that is my opinion. Now, if you want to watch my next video where I go over this financial advisor, and if I agree with this advice or not, watch this next video up here.